I bought a new toy. I'm not sure how much I actually needed it, but it's been super fun. So today I want to talk about pistol suppressors. This one specifically is a Spectre 9 from Silencer Co. I want to just talk through my experience with them and why I decided this one was something I needed, even though I already had another 9mm can. So maybe, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I bought this one. This is an Omega 9K. Cool part about these, I guess, well, both of these in general, you can kind of change out the guts depending on what kind of firearm you want to put it on. So this is a tri-lug. I just pulled this off my MP5. So this is just easy. You just push down. It's kind of spring-loaded. Turn it a little bit. Let it go. And that's how it attaches. Otherwise, you can just use a little tool that fits in those three little prongs, those little holes. Spin this thing off and then put a piston on it for attaching it to a handgun. So you can do, I mean, honestly, everything this does, this new Spectre that I bought does. They do the same stuff, but there's one big difference. It's weight. So the Omega 9, for nerds that like this stuff, Omega 9K, the weight on this one is 7.3 ounces. Normally, all these little pedantic numbers would be like, who cares? I'm here to tell you there's a little bit of a noticeable difference. So again, the Omega, this guy, 7.3. The new one, the Spectre, it says 3.9. So, I mean, not quite half, but it's a noticeable weight difference. Just holding these in your hand, like, yeah, I mean, I can tell there's a difference. The Spectre's definitely lighter, but the problem is, once I put that Omega 9K on the end of a pistol, it commonly lived on the barrel of this 4-inch threaded Walther PDP. It's got a hollow sun on it. It's a 509T. This gun's traveled with me a fair bit, with and without the suppressor. And anyway, once you put the can on it, it just got, honestly, pretty muzzle heavy. It was getting lightweight annoying. So, you needed something different, and so it made sense to look at something titanium or lighter, and putting this, the Spectre 9, on the end of this, it is a way different gun, honestly. I should have found, I'm pretty sure it's titanium anyway. If I scroll through the website, is it going to say, oh yeah, all titanium destruction. All titanium construction. This is big on the website. So, being real, the big difference between these two, having the titanium suppressor, whether it's 3 or 4 ounces, it is a very noticeable difference when it's that far away from your hand while you're trying to shoot it. As far as recoil goes, they're about the same. I can't tell a difference accuracy-wise. They both print like point of impact to where the dot's zeroed. The huge difference, though, is just if you want to do target transitions. Having this can, which I believe is stainless. Let me look at. Luckily, I have their website pulled up. Of course, we're not going to talk about what it's made out of because it's heavier. Tubeless design, lightweight due to its construction. It's maybe lightweight compared to some stuff, but it's not crazy light. Materials, cobalt 6 and 17 and 4 SS. I don't know what any of that crap means. I think that means stainless steel. I don't know about the other stuff. So, stainless steel compared to titanium. No brainer there. So anyway, for the good things I like about this, where you can change on the Omega 9K to do the piston or the tri-lug, it's the exact same stuff. On the Spectre, these are both from Silencer Co. I don't have any brand loyalty for like suppressors. This just, my friend Jason already has one of these, so it seemed like a no-brainer. And then to take this one off, it just has a little tool that engages with these little teeth, and then this part separates from the rest of the can. That way you can put on, like I've got, here's a piston. Otherwise, the same tri-lug from the other gun just fits on this also. So anyway, you can, make it do whatever you want it to do. But this, like, I don't notice it as much on my MP5. It's fine. But on a pistol, the titanium can is quite choice and way more handy just for target transitions, moving it around between targets. So my plan is the Omega 9K is going to live on the MP5. This one will rotate around between handguns. As far as noise, sound reduction, all that stuff, they both do the same thing. But this thing being titanium is pretty choice. Like I said, the real big difference is just I mean, honestly, I just got this thing to feel like James Bond because I think it's cool. But you can tell a big difference when trying to do target transitions or just, I mean, even now just having the gun in my hands. I handled it suppressed enough that it's just a noticeable difference this way. The other part, it's kind of cool. I've got, this one is a Holosun 509T. So I think it's titanium. I think that's what the T is for. But it's just tall enough I can see over the can, which is cool. If not, the can kind of would occlude it, I suppose. But with either can, no issues. And then I think it's a ZR Tactical is who I got the optic plate from. This one's kind of a unique, I think it's the same mount as the Acro, the Aimpoint Acro and the Steiner. So it's just kind of one little cross bolt that goes through. So the plate just has, it looks kind of like a Picatinny with one slot in the middle, which just interfaces with that one bolt. So just set it down, clamp it through, and that's that done. I do also have a bit of a tangent. An EPS from Holosun, the other closed emitter. I think the glass on that one's a tick better, but it's not quite as tall. I might put that on this gun at some point just to see. Because this one, the glass has got a little bit of the bluish kind of like hue or a little bit of fisheye, like what the for Trijicon owners would be familiar, the RMR or the SRO. And so this one kind of has a little bit of that. The EPS looks super clear. So that, maybe I'll give it a try. But either way, this is fine. Like I said, it's plenty tall. It clears the suppressor. No issues, of course, with the gun or pistol, but this thing has been a fun toy. So that's my new toy and why I got it. Just because, honestly, weight. There's a couple of things that I think people should know if you're interested in getting a suppressor for specifically a handgun. So I thought I'd just talk through the stuff I wish I knew before I got started. First off, regardless if it's going on a rifle, a handgun, or even just a 22, these things do heat up more quickly. So this is a Surefire Rider 22. So even a 22 can, if it's on a super fun little, it's a Volquartsen top end, a little, like a Ruger 22 pistol. If I shoot 3, 4, 5 magazines fairly quickly, this thing will heat up. I'm not saying with the 22 suppressor, it gets so hot you can't hang on to it, but it definitely heats up faster, more than a regular barrel would. With either one of these, it's the same story, just getting hotter faster. So with any suppressor, whether it's 9mm, 5.56, or 22, after probably 15 to 30 rounds, they normally get hot enough you would not want to take them off with just your hands, without having a gloves or a towel or whatever. Like this Omega, I've got this one, well, my friend John is a fan of the MP5, so firing 2 or 3 magazines, fairly rapid fire, just back to back through them. This thing will get to the point, it looks like the movies, where there's kind of smoke coming out the end of the suppressor. I'm not saying it glows or anything, but it's definitely hot enough you won't want to take it off with your hands. So, and then it takes a while to cool down, which brings my next point. If you are a suppressor owner, or the reason for this point, if you decide to get a suppressor, you should get a fan. Honestly. I really like the Ryobi kind of stuff, or DeWalt, or whatever ecosystem you like for the tools with the removable batteries. Most of those have a fan also. Back in the day, I got one of those Ryobi fans. I think it was like $100 at Home Depot. So it has the fan and then 2 rechargeable batteries and a little battery charger. It was just like $100 for all that stuff. It's so handy because, like I said, these things get so hot, and if you don't want to overheat them or you want to let them time to cool, if it's during the middle of the summer, the sun's out, even putting them in the shade, sometimes it feels like it takes forever. I've been to a couple places that they do a lot of shooting at, that would have fans like those Ryobi fans or DeWalt fans, just kind of, when people are on the range, they're just left on. And even if they'll normally have like a swivel mount where you could face it towards you or you could tilt it upwards. Tilting those upwards, so pointing straight up, and then just locking the slide of your handgun open and setting it on top is extremely helpful for getting it to cool down quickly. So for as much as you spend for cans or, that kind of nonsense, getting a fan for I guess 5.56 training also. Having one of those fans is a lifesaver because otherwise, well, example, yesterday I took this thing to the range and I fired probably like 4 or 5 magazines fairly quickly through it, and the thing was smoking hot enough that I wouldn't want to put it in a case or anything because it's just going to melt the styrofoam or plastic around it. So then I could just, this was the last gun I shot for the day, got it super hot, turned on the fan, set this thing on top of the fan while I'm getting the rest of my stuff put in the car, target stands, all that kind of stuff, trash thrown away. By the time I'm ready to roll, it's still warm, but it wasn't smoking hot anymore. And it was warm, but cool enough that it could be put in a case. Otherwise, the same thing is hold true for 5.56. You can get those guns, even non-suppressed, so hot that you can't really hang on to them. So having one of the fans, whether you get a suppressor or you're going to shoot 5.56, I think makes a lot of sense. The only other thing that I think you should know if you're interested in being a suppressor owner is the mounting system, or have some thoughts about how you want to mount it. Because, well, so like this one, the Surefire Rider, this is just a direct thread. So it's already set up, just this, I just completely took it out of the box. It's already threaded for my Ruger, already had a threaded barrel on it. This one just applies straight to it, good to go. Otherwise, most of the time when you buy a suppressor, like these two, neither of them came with these mounting solutions already in the box. So for this one, the Tri-Lug, it was a little tough to find, hunt all over the internet, finding one. Like, I don't even care what it costs. I just want to find a Tri-Lug adapter from Silencer Cove that interfaces with this one. Finally found a place that had one in stock. I'm like, yep. It's like, even if it's a little over MSRP, whatever, you just have to have it. Because otherwise, the way it's set, there was no way to make this suppressor work with that Tri-Lug the way I wanted it to. The other example, this piston, like this can, for example, the Spectre 9, when I got it, out of the box, it's already got just the can and this little cap, but it didn't have the piston or Tri-Lug or any of the adapters that you'd want for interfacing with your gun. So, just taking this thing home, if I didn't already have a piston ready for it, I would have not been shooting it until I sourced the other parts I need. The other can I use, I've got it, I should have grabbed it, a Surefire RC3. That one brings me to my next point. It's specific on muzzle devices. So the Surefire muzzle devices work with the Surefire cans. So you need to be planning ahead. If you think about getting a rifle suppressor, what kind of muzzle device do you want? And is it going to play nice with the suppressor you get? I mean, I've said it before. I'm kind of a slave to appearances. So working a lot with military, law enforcement, the government, that kind of stuff, most of them are on the Surefire train, and for good reasons. So you can comment on, drop it in the comments of how, expensive the muzzle devices are, or how XYZ product maybe has as good of a product or a better value. The Surefire stuff isn't the cheapest, but in my opinion, it is the best. I'm a big fan. So I stuck with, even before I even thought about getting a suppressor, it was a thought in my brain that I was like, in the future, I might own a can. But when I started getting muzzle devices for rifles, I just had in my brain, I might want a Surefire suppressor down the road. So I planned ahead and just put Surefire muzzle devices on my guns, not knowing if I'd get a can or not, but knowing that I'd be set up, considering some of them are 14.5 pin and weld guns, knowing I'd be set up if I wanted to get a suppressor. Otherwise, my very first pin and weld was with a BCM, it's called A2X, I think, which looks like a regular birdcage style, just an A2 flash hider, but it's extended, so it's built with the intentions of making a 14.5 up to 16.1, a legal rifle after it's pin and welded. That was my first pin and weld I did. Then I was like, man, I should rethink this, because then once I started to get, I got some muzzle devices, thought, I might have a suppressor in the next year. Then I ended up needing to, luckily have a guy fairly local to me that was able to drill through that weld. I'm glad he had all the parts. So you drill through the weld, was able to, the muzzle device was basically toast, but that was fine. Get the muzzle device off, then, sorry. So I guess you drill through enough to break the weld, then the little pin that was held in place came out, was able to unthread it without damaging the barrel, clean up the threads, then put the new muzzle device back in, Drill for that, put the pin in, weld it. It's a bit more of a process. So, like what I'm saying, if you think you might want suppressors in the future, it makes sense just to pick kind of an ecosystem or to research it ahead of time. That way, the muzzle devices you have on your rifles play nice with the suppressors you have in mind. Otherwise, let's say you have a couple Surefire devices and you have a couple Silencer Co. mounts on your rifles. Depending on what can you buy, you might not be able to put it on all your guns. So you just want to make sure it plays nice with whatever you decide to buy. And if you have a suppressor coming, like this guy, make sure you've actually researched how to attach it to your gun. Because 9 times out of 10, a can like this, pulling it out of the box, is not going to be ready to go without purchasing additional stuff. So anyway, that's my, well, a couple different topics. Why I got this Spectre 9 and how I think it's pretty fly, but also just a few things you should think about if you're in the market for a suppressor. Don't claim to be an expert on them, but I'm kind of learning more as I go, and I've got a decent amount of experience for them. If you have any questions for me, feel free to drop it below in the comments. I do my best to answer all the questions, and if I need to make a follow-up video or show and tell, I can do that. Otherwise, link or any other questions you have if it's products or stuff like that. So, appreciate you watching. Have a good day.